Hey guys, I'm Running Kid here, back again. How's everybody doing on their end? And welcome back to Indie Showcase. Indie Showcase is where I take an indie comic from the highest, well-profiled indie companies to the lowest, less known indie companies and everything in between, all around, and I talk about it. I talk about whatever book it's under. Well guys, today I'm here to review a Image comic. I believe it's the first in the run, and it is called MidLife, for how to hero at 50. Yeah. MidLife, this is written by Brian Buscetto. I am a fan of his work. This is artwork is done by, I want to make sure we get the right artwork, Stefano Simon. I hope I'm saying it right. Lettering by Hassan Omane Eleho. I hope if I butchered that, sir, I apologize. So what is MidLife about? Well, first and foremost, let me get into this for you. So MidLife is about a man named Ruben Kwan. He is half Puerto Rican and half Chinese, I believe. He has reached 50 years old. He's a 50-year-old firefighter. And I always find that cool. You know, I always wonder why there aren't more superheroes that their occupation was a firefighter. Actually created a heroine. She was a firefighter before she became a superhero. I still need to put it out. The biggest thing about Ruben is that he's scared of fire. He is completely scared of fire. His father was a firefighter, and he's scared of fire, but he became a firefighter. The problem is that he doesn't work in the fire. He stays behind. He does the desk work. So he's more instead of running into burning buildings, he does the desk work. He pushes all the papers, all the reports and everything like that. But however, he still feels that he's living in the shadows of his father, because everybody talks about his father, like, your father was a brave man, he this and that, he was good, he was a good man, he's brave, he was this and that. And you know, he's feeling kind of like, even though I'm with the LAPD, the LAFD, I feel like I'm not living up to my legacy as well as his legacy because of how great his father. This kind of reminds me a little bit, the way Mr. Buscetto was writing this, it felt like it's kind of how I somewhat feel about actors who have famous parents, and they're kind of always living in the shadows of their famous mother or father, because everybody's always going to look at them. Well, your father was this is how I look at David Washington, Denzel's son, or Clint Eastwood's Scott Eastwood, you know, Kate Wilson, you know, all those actresses who have famous parents, and they gotta vicariously live through that. And also, it's not just actors, I'm also athletes and things like that. So I get where Mr. Buscetto was coming from with this. The point also is the fact that though he is scared of fire because he has nightmares about it and things like that, his father seemed to have died in a fire, and his father saved him before he died. So he's always feeling like he's living in the shadows of his father, and he's been on the department for 25 years, but he's never, you know, he just feels like, okay, I'm about to be 50, I have a son, I got a wife, his new wife is pregnant with a child, the upcoming child. So what happens? What happens in between that? Well, one random act of heroism changes everything. Everything. What is that? Simple. He saw he would always go by when he's driving on the highway. He always sees this homeless guy, and he would always tell him, like, you got to be careful with that fire around all the burning, like the cardboard and everything, because that's a fire hazard, things like that. And the homeless guy would always say, yeah, sure. Now the homeless guy also has a puppy, dog, and unfortunately there was a fire, and the old man, unfortunately, but the puppy's still alive. And when he sees this, Ruben jumps into action. Mind you, scared of fire, jumps into action, and it was a propane canister, and everything blows up. And Ruben finds out something very, very interesting. He's fireproof. Fire does not hurt him. He saves a dog, and he ducks and covers. The next thing you know, he's almost half butt naked, but everything else on him is fine. He tells his boys that he grew up with. He's got two best friends. One works in the entertainment industry as a special effects guy, and his other best friend is he works for LAPD. So it's really cool, and I love how it bounces back and forth between when they were kids and when they're now, how they are now. And they're talking about Tim Burton's Batman, and they're talking about Blade. Like nobody's gonna. Why they like? There's one scene in there. The guy's like, his boy is like, man, why they got Wesley playing Blade? Like nobody gives two shits about Blade, a black vampire hunter. He should be playing Luke Cage. It's the funniest thing, and it's like, oh my god. I'm reading this and I'm like, where did Mr. Michelle really must have paid attention to a lot of stuff, because there was a point, if I read that Wesley was in talks to make a Hero for Hire movie at one point. So it's actually really cool. It's really fun. Throughout the time, Ruben starts to wonder, like, why am I like this? Where does this come from? And it gets really deep, and I really appreciate it. It starts getting really deep into Puerto Rican mythos and things like that, which I won't spoil. I do recommend you reading it because it's really cool about what they talk about. But it's the coolest thing. Like, he wears this old school, like, I'll show you his kind of his costume. This is Ruben's costume right here. It looks, don't laugh. It looks kind of funky, but it's still cool. And he learns from his mother that where this comes from and things like that. Now there's an agency in these kind of men in black that are monitoring the coming of something that has a lot to do with the mythos that I was talking about. And they find out about him, and they think he's like he's the coming of this fire demon, but he's not. Like, Ruben, fire doesn't hurt him, and he can push fire out the way. So imagine if there's a blaze right in the front of him. He could, like, literally push it out the way, like, move out to the side. And fire won't hurt him. Shooting him is dumb, because one of the agents tries to shoot him, and bullets just burn. They don't even touch him. They burn right on him. This was really good. This was a fun read. I really enjoyed this. I love the storytelling behind it. It really captured what it would be like for a man who's in his midlife. He's 50 years old, and he's doing this heroism. Like, it's very dangerous. I mean, there's points where you see him running up buildings. He's running up, and he tries to leap, and he's like, wait, hold on. Okay. And he jumps and things like he's like, if they play off like he's getting older. So but I really loved this concept of just showcasing a telling of a story of a middle-aged man And he's a dad and a husband he finds out that he has these powers, but also the consequences of it. So that's also something I really enjoyed about this run. Now, Brian Buccellato, has done a lot of work, whether it's Dynamite. I love his work on Dynamite comics, like what he did with Black Bat and things like that. He wrote a little bit of the Flash. I thought his Flash run was okay. And he's writing now a book for Image under that's in the same universe as what's the name? Radiant Black. It's called No One, and it's really cool. That's a good book to read as well. But this was just a lot of fun. I don't want to spoil too much because I do recommend you should check it out. This was a good read under Image. The artwork was solid, but it's really cool to see how would someone write a superhero or a hero who has these powers, but he's 50. He's 50 years old. That's the one thing that plays up a lot in this. But it's the mythos and aspect of where he got these powers, why he can do the things he can, where it comes from. It's really cool. Like I said, Ruben is biracial. He's mixed with Puerto Rican and Asian. His father was half Chinese, so it's really cool. That's why. But like his full name is Ruben Kawan, so it's really good. This was really fun. I definitely recommend it, guys. If you haven't checked out this book, I recommend it. You will love it, especially if you're trying to find stuff that not is involving like the big two. And Image has always done that. Image has always been a good source of books that are outside of the big two, and so this was definitely one of them. MidLife. I found this. I was just, I was. How did I find this? I think I was scrolling. I was on Amazon, and I was like, you know what? I need a new indie book, and I was looking up Image. I wanted some Image. I was looking up Image, and I saw 2 Image books. And I was like, oh, MidLife. And I read the synopsis. I'm like, okay, I want to read this. So I picked up that, and I picked up another book under called Edgewood, which I'll review later as well. Both Image books. But outside of that, check out MidLife. This is the first volume. I believe I hope it's still going on, because the way it ended, it felt like there's more to come. So hopefully this Mr. Buccellato gets to write some more of this, because I enjoyed it very much. Well, guys, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you guys next time on Indie Showcase, where I review indie books from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows and everything all around. I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.